I've cracked the code on building a 10K per month coaching business without paid ads, a large following, or cold outreach. And today we're going to be deep diving into exactly how you can do this yourself with your own coaching business by using YouTube in 2024. And let me tell you, this isn't just theory. I've helped dozens of coaches, consultants, and online entrepreneurs achieve this goal and well beyond. Now, before we jump in, let me share a quick story. Just a few years ago, I was a pharmacist drowning in $300,000 in student loan debt. Fast forward to today, and I make multiple six figures per month from my YouTube channel and my coaching business. And the methods I'm about to share with you are the exact strategies that got me here. Now, you might be thinking, Shane, that's great for you, but can this really work for me? Well, let me introduce you to Sean Dulwit. Sean was stuck at about 30K per month with his Kindle publishing YouTube channel. And within just 2 months of implementing these strategies, he skyrocketed to over $180,000 per month. That's a 6x increase in 60 days. Or you can consider Felix and Friends, who was already successful, but he was struggling with content creation. We helped him optimize his process, and now he's pulling in 8 figures annually. The point is, whether you're just starting out or you already have some success, these strategies can take you to the next level. So if you're ready to transform your coaching business and finally hit that 10K per month mark, stick around because this is going to be a game changer. One thing you need to know is that you're one decision away from completely changing your life. Now, I know that might sound like some motivational BS, but hear me out. When I was working as a pharmacist, I was comfortable. I had a steady paycheck, benefits, the whole 9 yards, but I was miserable. I knew that I wanted more, I knew that I could do more, but I was paralyzed by indecision. And it wasn't until I made the decision, the real committed decision to start my YouTube channel and coaching business, that everything changed. And let me tell you, it wasn't an easy decision. For instance, I had $300,000 in student loans hanging over my head, but I realized the cost of not making a decision was far greater than the risk of making the wrong one. And this is what I like to call inverse thinking. Instead of focusing on what might go wrong if you make a decision, think about what you're losing out on by not making one. Because every day you don't commit to building your coaching business, you're leaving money on the table. Now let's put this into perspective. If your goal is 10K per month, that's about $333 per day. So every day you don't take action, you're essentially throwing away $333. And that adds up fast. Now, I'm not saying that you should make rash decisions, but what I am saying is you need to make decisions. Use what Jeff Bezos calls the regret minimization framework. Imagine yourself at 80 years old looking back on your life. Will you regret playing it safe? Of course you will. Now, here's what I want you to do right now. Pause this video, grab a piece of paper, and write down the top 3 decisions you need to make for your coaching business. Maybe it's finally picking a niche, maybe it's investing in a course or a mentor, whatever it is, write it down and commit to making those decisions within the next 24 hours. And remember, the most successful people in the world are not necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who make decisions quickly and change them slowly. So be decisive, take action, and your future self will thank you. Now that we've talked about the power of decisions, let's flip the script and talk about the cost of indecision. And let me tell you, it's much higher than you probably think. And I remember when I was first starting out, I spent months, literally months, trying to decide on my niche. Should I teach people how to get into better colleges? Should I teach people how to get better careers? Should I help people who already make a bunch of money make even more money? I was paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong choice. And you know what happened during those months? Absolutely nothing. No progress whatsoever. 0 clients, 0 revenue. And this is what I call the time tax of ignorance. Every day you spend not knowing something crucial about your business, you're paying a tax, and it's a heavy one. So let's break this down using the opportunity cost mental model. Every decision you make or don't make has an opportunity cost. And the opportunity cost is the value of the best alternative that you give up. So whether you're indecisive about your niche, your pricing, your marketing strategy, you're not just losing potential income. You're losing time, momentum, and opportunities that you can never get back. And here's a framework I use called the Eisenhower Decision Matrix. It helps prioritize decisions based on their urgency and importance. Draw a box and divide it into 4 quadrants. Label them urgent and important, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, and neither urgent nor important. Now plot your business decisions in these 4 quadrants. Focus on the ones that are urgent and important. These are your high impact, time sensitive decisions that will move the needle in your business. Now let me give you a real world example. One of my clients, Josh, was stuck at making less than $1,000 a month with his YouTube channel about how to get into IT careers. He was constantly second guessing his content, strategy, his offer, everything. Now we sat down and we used this framework to identify his most crucial decisions. And within 6 months of making those decisions and taking action, he'd hit 186K in a single month. That is the power of figuring out what's important and then taking decisive action with just that one thing. Now here's my challenge to you. Calculate the exact dollar amount you're losing per day of indecision. If your goal is 10K per month, that's $333 a day, or about $14 per hour, whether you're awake or sleeping. Now, how many hours have you spent overthinking your last big business decision? Multiply that by $14. That's what indecision is costing you. Now, the bottom line is, in the coaching business, and honestly just about any business out there, speed of implementation trumps perfection every single time. You don't need to make the perfect decision, but you do need to make a good decision quickly and then adjust as you go. That's how you'll hit 10K per month and beyond. Next, let's talk about identifying your target market. And this is one of the most crucial decisions that you will make in your coaching business. This is where a lot of coaches go wrong. They try to be everything to everyone, and they end up being nothing to anyone. Trust me, I've been there. When I first started my YouTube channel, I was making videos about everything from cryptocurrency to college degrees to careers to writing grants to how to save money and how to budget. I was an absolute mess. But here's the thing. The riches are in the niches. You need to get specific about who you're serving, and I mean really specific. Let me break this down using the customer avatar canvas framework. And this is a tool I've used with my clients to help them get crystal clear on their ideal customer. And it covers 3 main areas. 1, demographics. This is the basic stuff like age, gender, location, income level, education, job title, etc. 2, psychographics. This is where it gets really interesting, and I would argue that psychographics are much more important than demographics. These are the things that you can't easily see about someone, whereas demographics are the things that you can easily see. Things like, what are their values, their beliefs, their attitudes? What do they read? What do they watch? What are their hobbies? And then 3, pain points. What keeps them up at night? What are their biggest frustrations? What problems are they trying to solve? Now, here's where most people mess up. They focus too much on demographics and not enough on psychographics and pain points. But it's the psychographics and the pain points that will really help you connect with your audience. Let me give you an example. One of my clients, Nicole, was struggling to grow her YouTube channel about cybersecurity careers. She had about 85 subscribers and she wasn't making any money at all. And she was just about to give up. Now, we dug deep into her target market and we realized she was targeting the wrong people. Instead of just focusing on general job seekers or people that are generally interested in getting into tech-related jobs, she niched down to women that want to get into cybersecurity jobs. Now, women that try to get into cybersecurity jobs have some unique disadvantages. But Nicole herself was a woman who got into cybersecurity. So she understood their pain points on an incredibly deep level. And by the way, that's kind of a cheat code is, if you really want to understand your audience well, just solve problems for the past version of yourself. And then adjust from there based on how your audience differs from you. But by speaking directly to those pain points in her content and her offer, Nicole's channel absolutely exploded. And she's now making over 85K per month helping people land high-paying cybersecurity jobs. Now here's what you can do to get started. Either solve problems for the past version of yourself, or if you're doing something where for some reason you can't solve problems for the past version of yourself, then interview 10 of your ideal clients. You can find them on forums, subreddits, or if you have an audience, people that are already viewing your videos. And then ask them questions about their goals, their challenges, their fears, and really dig deep. Then create a detailed psychographic profile. What movies do they watch? What books do they read? What keeps them up at night? The more specific you can get, the better. And remember, when you try to appeal to everyone, you appeal to no one. But when you speak directly to a person's specific hopes, dreams, and fears, they'll feel like you're reading their mind. And that's when they're going to be ready to buy. Now that we've talked about identifying your target market, let's take it a step further with what I like to call the micro niche domination approach. This is where the real magic happens on YouTube. Now here's the thing, in today's crowded coaching market, being good isn't good enough. You need to be the go-to expert in a very specific area. And the smaller and more specific that area, the easier it is to dominate. Let me give you an example. When I started on YouTube, I was talking about all sorts of different career advice, but I wasn't getting much traction. And then I niched down to helping people by getting high-paying jobs without a college degree. Suddenly, I was the expert in a very specific area. My views skyrocketed, and so did my income. And this is what we call a blue ocean strategy. Instead of competing in a red ocean full of sharks and blood, you create your own blue ocean where you're the only fish swimming. And here's a framework I use called the niche selection matrix. Draw a 2x2 grid. On one axis, you have profitability, low to high. On the other axis, you have passion, low to high. And your goal is to find a micro niche that fits in the high profitability, high passion quadrant. For example, instead of being a general health coach, you could be the keto coach for busy executives over 50. Instead of being a business coach, you could be the scaling coach for e-commerce brands doing $1 to $5 million in annual revenue. Now you might be thinking, but Shane, won't I be limiting my potential client base? And the answer is yes, you will. That's the point. And here's the counterintuitive truth. The more you niche down, the more money that you can make. Would you want a general practitioner to do surgery on your spine or your brain? No, you would want a brain surgeon or a spine surgeon to do surgery on your spine. And you might niche down even further than that. You might want someone who has worked specifically on people that are like you, that have the specific problem that you have, and they've had really good results with that. Now, let me give you another example. One of my clients, Joaquin, was struggling to gain traction with his YouTube channel about engineering concepts and study tips. And we completely switched his niche to helping international students get into Ivy League schools. Why? Because Joaquin himself was an international student who got into UPenn Wharton. And within a short period, he went from making nothing to $85,000 a month. Now here's some actionable advice that you can take right now. List out 20 potential micro niches. Be as specific as possible. Then rank them based on profitability and your passion for the topic. Choose the top 3 and do some market research. Look at competition, the demand, the potential for scalability, and then just go with your gut. Choose the one that you really are excited about. And remember, you're not stuck with this niche forever. You can always expand later on. But starting narrow allows you to establish yourself as an expert quickly and build a loyal following. The key is to become a big fish in a small pond. Once you've dominated your micro niche, you can always expand to bigger ponds, and then rivers, and then the ocean. But it's much harder to go the other way around. Now that we've nailed down your target market and we've established your expertise, it's time to talk about crafting an irresistible offer. This is where the rubber meets the road in your coaching business. And here's the harsh truth. It doesn't matter how good you are at coaching if you can't communicate the value of what you're offering. Now, I've seen brilliant coaches struggle to make $2,000 a month, while coaches with half their skill set are making $20,000, $30,000, even $50,000 a month. And the difference? A clear, compelling offer. Let me share my personal story. When I first started my coaching business, I was offering generic career coaching, and my sales were lukewarm at best. And when I niched down and created a specific offer, which is land a 6-figure remote job in 90 days or less, suddenly I couldn't keep up with the demand. The offer was clear, the promise was compelling, and the results were tangible. And this is what I call the value proposition canvas. It's a framework that helps you align what you're offering with what your customers actually want. And here's how it works. 1, customer jobs. What is your customer trying to get done? 2, customer pains. What are their frustrations and their challenges? 3, customer gains. What benefits are they seeking? 4, products and services. What exactly are you offering? 5, pain relievers. How does your offer alleviate their pain? And 6, gain creators. How does your offer create a customer gain? And when your offer perfectly aligns with your customer's jobs, pains, and desires and gains, it's going to become irresistible. Now here's a challenge for you. Write 50 different versions of your offer in one sitting. Yes, 50. And this exercise, which I learned from marketing genius Dan Kennedy, forces you to think creatively and push beyond the obvious. Now here's the key. Your offer needs to be specific, results-oriented, and address a burning pain point. Don't be vague. Instead of life coaching sessions, offer 30-day transformation from overwhelmed to overachiever. And remember, people don't buy coaching. They buy outcomes. They buy transformations. Your offer should paint a vivid picture of the transformation that you're promising. And this leads into what I like to call miracles and miseries. And this is about addressing both the aspirations or the miracles and the pain points, the miseries of your target audience. And here's the thing. People are motivated by 2 primary forces: moving away from pain and moving towards pleasure. And your offer needs to tap into both. And the more powerful one, believe it or not, is moving away from pain. So when I'm marketing my YouTube coaching program, which you can check out down in the description in the pinned comment below, for instance, I don't talk about the miracle of making 6 figures from YouTube. I also address the misery of being stuck in a soul-crushing 9-to-5 job or being stuck in a business that you hate and you can't scale. And this is what's known as the pain, dream, fix method. And here's how it works. Step 1, pain. Agitate the problem. Really dig into how it feels to be stuck where they are. 2, dream. Paint a vivid picture of what life could be like if they solved this problem. And 3, fix. Present your offer as the bridge between their current pain and their dream future. Now, here's an exercise for you. Create a table with 3 columns: pain, dream, and fix. In the pain column, list out the top 10 pain points that your ideal clients are experiencing. In the dream column, describe their corresponding aspirations or desired outcomes. And in the fix column, explain how your coaching program addresses each pain point and helps them achieve their aspirations. But remember, people make their decisions based on emotion and they justify them with logic. So by addressing both the miracles and the miseries, you're tapping into the emotional triggers that drive decision making. And another way of thinking about this is thinking of Heaven Island and Hell Island. And you really want to drive a stark contrast between the pain of their current situation, which would be Hell Island, and the pleasure of their desired outcome, which would be, of course, Heaven Island. And this approach is powerful because it leverages the psychological principle of contrast. The greater the contrast between the pain and the pleasure, the more compelling your offer is. So just as an example, if I'm selling a high-ticket coaching offer for starting and growing on YouTube, I might say something like, right now you're grinding away at a job you hate, trading your time for money and watching your dreams slip away with each passing year. You're stressed, unfulfilled, and wondering if this is all there is to life. But imagine a different reality. Imagine waking up excited to create content that you love, impacting thousands of people and making more in a month than you used to make in a year. Imagine the freedom you would have to work from anywhere, the satisfaction of building a brand around your passion, and the security of knowing you're in control of your financial future, right? Do you see how powerful that is? And you see how stark the contrast is. That's the power of Heaven and Hell Island and making it very clear in your prospect's mind. So a great exercise for you to take action right now would be to write a vivid 100-word description of both Hell Island and Heaven Island. Really dig into the emotions, the day-to-day experiences, the frustrations, and the joys. And the more vivid and relatable these descriptions are, the more powerful they'll be. All right, so next we're going to talk about establishing your North Star for your YouTube efforts and your coaching business efforts. And this is going to be all about setting clear, powerful goals for your business. And when I first started my YouTube channel, I was basically just throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what would stick. And I had no clear goals, no strategy, and unsurprisingly, no real results. And it wasn't until I set a clear North Star for my efforts that things started to take off. And this is where the concept of BAG comes in. That's big, hairy, audacious goal. And it's a term coined by Jim Collins in his book, Built to Last. And it's all about setting a goal that's so big that it scares you a little bit. And for me, my bag was to reach 100,000 subscribers and $30,000 a month in revenue. And I wanted to be able to do it within a year. Now, was it scary? Absolutely. Did it seem impossible at the time? You bet. But having that North Star guided every decision that I made, from content creation to monetization strategies. And a really good framework for setting goals that can actually be measured is called OKRs, or Objectives and Key Results. And objectives are basically your big qualitative goal, which is what do you want to achieve? And key results, these are the quantitative metrics that will tell you if you're actually on track to achieving your goal. For example, the objective might be to become the go-to YouTube channel for career advice for people without degrees. And the key results would be reach 100,000 subscribers within 12 months, achieve 1 million views per month, and generate $30,000 in monthly revenue from YouTube-related activities. And then you can break it down further. Where would you have to be each month in order to reach that goal? So a way for you to take action on this is to set a specific subscriber and revenue goal for your channel within the next 90 days. And make it big enough to excite you, but not so big that it paralyzes you. You want it to be just big enough that it scares you a little bit. Like your brain almost doesn't believe that it's possible, but you know that if you push yourself really hard, you can do it. And let me share a success story with you. One of my clients, Davis, was making around 20 to 25K per month from his small YouTube channel about landing management consulting jobs. And when he first came to me, he was just like, hey, can you help me make, 20% more or something like that? And I was like, you know what? We need to set a much bigger goal than that. I want you to be making 100K per month within 6 months. And I showed him that many other people were doing this, so he believed that it could be done. But at the same time, it did scare him a little bit. And the result, he did hit that target, and he 4 to 5x the amount of leads and sales he was getting from his YouTube channel. And remember, the purpose of setting these goals isn't just about the numbers. It's about who you become in the pursuit of those goals. The skills you develop, the mindset shifts you make, the value you create for your audience. These are the real rewards. So your YouTube channel isn't just for making money. It's a vehicle to transform yourself on a fundamental level. And the more skilled you get and the better a person you become, the more money that you can make. Now you might be thinking, well, Shane, I set this goal, but how do I actually know how to reach the goal? Well, you've got to break it down into actionable steps, and you can do that with what I like to call the critical path method. And this method is all about working backwards from your revenue goals to determine exactly what needs to happen in order to get there. So let me give you a real world example. At one point I set a goal of $100,000 per month, and I broke it down like this. $100,000 per month, that would be about 10 high ticket clients at $10,000 each. And assuming I get a 10% conversion rate from sales calls, which is actually really bad, that would just be 100 sales calls per month. And assuming that there's a 20% conversion rate to application to actually booking a call, because some of them are not going to be qualified, that's going to be 500 applications. And assuming there's a 2% conversion rate from each video view to application, that would mean that I need to get about 25,000 views per month. And suddenly that big, scary $100,000 goal became much more manageable. Now I know that I need to focus on just getting 25,000 views per month as long as they're the right people, and then optimizing my funnel at each stage. And another framework for looking at this, kind of to figure out what you can actually focus on and control, is what I like to call the metrics pyramid. So top of the pyramid is revenue. Unfortunately, you have no control over the revenue. Middle of the pyramid would be high leverage activities such as taking sales calls or creating content. And bottom of the pyramid would be leading indicators like views, engagement, and subscribers. Now the key is to focus on the leading indicators because you can actually control these. The metrics that are at the bottom of the pyramid. If you make more content, then of course you're going to end up getting more views. Now, one amazing metric that everyone should be tracking on YouTube is your revenue per 1,000 views. Because I've worked with YouTubers that have a revenue per 1,000 views of literally $1. It's that low. And then I've worked with other YouTubers that have a revenue per 1,000 views over $10,000. And that'll give you a really good indication of how well you're monetizing your channel. Now, if you're making mass market content, aka content that appeals to a wide audience, and you're selling a high ticket product, then you should be making at least $500 to $1,000 per 1,000 views. And if you're making more niche content where you're targeting a very specific type of person, then you should be making at least $4,000 to $5,000 per 1,000 views, and sometimes much more than that. So the whole point here is don't just set big goals. Break them down, measure them, and watch as they become your new reality. And if you're targeting a niche enough audience, you don't need to get that many views in order to make a ridiculous amount of money. If your audience is niche enough, you can literally get 1,000 views a month from YouTube and make $10,000 a month. That means if you're uploading 10 videos per month, each of them could be getting 100 views only, and you could still be making 10K per month. The key here is targeting a niche audience and selling them a high ticket product. And I have one client that only gets about 100 views per video on average, and he's making over $1 million a year. I have another client that gets around 500 views per video on average, and they're making over $10 million a year. Why? Because they target a super niche audience, they solve an incredibly painful point for them, and this audience actually has money, and they sell a high ticket product or service. So YouTube is an absolute gold mine for people who niche down, pick the right audience, and sell them the right solution in the right packaging. And if you want to know exactly how to do this and you want my team and I to work with you, getting you to that level where you're making a ton of money on YouTube, just like the 17 people that we've helped get to 7 figures a year and the 5 people that we've helped get to 8 figures a year, then go ahead and book a call with me down in the description and the pinned comment below. And if you haven't done it already, check out my video I made on how monk mode made me a millionaire.